10 things I dislike about the 2022 Powerboost Hybrid. As you can see, guys, here's the new 2022 Powerboost Hybrid. Beautiful truck. Does have the leveling kit on it. It's a lariat. And I'll show you the window sticker here just so you can see the options. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these options, but you can see a sticker price is $71,895, and you can pretty much see what the MSRP is and all the the exact configuration I have. So if you can see that again, I'm gonna just hold it there for a second so you can screenshot that or whatever, and you can see what options I have. I'm not going to go through that, but I just want to talk about 10 things I dislike about the Powerboost Hybrid. The first thing is the hybrid system is very, very mild. I had a Honda Accord hybrid, and the hybrid system was much more aggressive. This hybrid system barely stays on. I mean, if you're driving highway speeds at like 65 miles per hour and you drive 50 miles, you may only get 1 or 2 miles of that electric. So the hybrid system barely kicks in. And what I don't know is how much it's utilizing the hybrid system. So even though on the instrument panel it only says you have driven maybe 1 or 2 miles in electric mode, how much assistance is that electric motor providing? If the electric motor is really providing a lot of extra help and assistance, then that's not a bad thing. So and then I think the next thing that goes right along with that is it is bumpy. It's not a very smooth transition from gas to electric. You feel that transition. It's kind of jerky. It seems to get smoother the more I drive it. Right now I'm just going to show you, I only have 600 miles on it, 680 something, 684 miles on it. So very few miles. It's the beautiful Baja tan interior, as you can see. Very beautiful truck, but the hybrid system is disappointingly mild, and that's probably one of the largest complaints I have on it. So I'm just trying to show you the truck while I go through these. The Sync 4, I'm really disappointed in Sync 4. You would think that Sync 4 would just be, blow Sync 3 out of the water. And really the only better thing I see about Sync 4 is you just have a bigger screen, and then the split screen works way, way better. It's much faster. You can zoom in and out much better than Sync 3. But that's probably about the only advantage. The split screen works a lot better. The graphics look better. It's a larger screen. It's over-the-air updates, but it just doesn't have, it seems to lack a lot of features. And specifically, so if you plug in an address and you want to go somewhere, and it may give you like 3 different options on how to get there, and it'll show you on the map 3 different options to get to your destination, but sometimes you need a breakdown of what those options are. You want to actually see a step-by-step turn list of what those 3 are. Once you select one of those options, then it will show you, then it'll automatically program that as the navigation instructions, and it'll take all the rest of them out, and then it'll show you a breakdown. But before you actually select one to utilize for your driving, you can't just see a breakdown of each one of them, of the different ways to arrive at your destination. I think the Ram actually does that, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because I think Ram does that. So the next thing is the lane keep assist only responds for just a second. Like if you're driving and you get over on the orange line or on the white line, it will nudge you over, and it's very mild at doing it. It's actually more mild than like the Ford Explorer. I have a 2021 Ford Explorer, and the lane keep assist actually works better on the Ford Explorer than it does on the Ford F150. So that's kind of a disappointing thing. And so it just doesn't work that well. The Blue Cruise works okay, but the lane keep assist, it will like, if you get over to the edge, it will engage for just a second, and then it'll just disengage, and then it'll wait for a few seconds, and then it'll re-engage, and then if you get over to the edge, and it'll kind of nudge the truck over, and then it just disengages. Like it really just doesn't stay on very long. So I'm just showing you the truck while I'm running my mouth. The next thing is the ambient lighting in the inside. I don't really have these in any particular order, but the ambient lighting is blue. It's like a light blue. You can see it right there. That's the color of the ambient lighting. Really pretty at night. I really like it. My 2017 Ford had, I think, 6 different colors: orange, red, blue, green. This one only has 1, and I think that some people say, well, that's because of the chip shortage and all that, so that's really irritating. I know it's a really minor thing, but again, ambient lighting is only a single color. All right, and then I think really one of my greatest complaints with this truck is the steering wheel is just too stiff. It's just too stiff. I know I think Consumer Reports and a lot of these car review people are responsible for the steering in these vehicles getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. If you've driven any of those old vehicles, you can literally take one finger and spin the wheel around. This truck, much more stiff than that. Typically, Consumer Reports would say the steering is vague and feels light and needs to feel more sporty. They always want the vehicles to feel sporty. Look, no one needs to be rounding curves at 200 miles an hour. These vehicles do not need sporty steering wheels on it. I just wish it would have, for a $70-something thousand truck, it just seems like it should have an option where you can make the steering wheel have a comfort setting and more of a sporty setting, just so you can select what you want, because it really doesn't take anything to do that. It's already, I bet there's probably like a little valve inside the steering mechanism, and if you just increase the orifice of that valve, it'll probably pump more fluid. If you make it smaller, less, like it's something that can probably easily be done. Hyundai does it on their vehicles. Most of the Acras have a setting where you can change. The Acura MDX anyway has a setting where you can change how stiff the steering wheel is. I just don't know why that got stiffer. My 2017, it was so comfortable. You may say, well, what's wrong with a stiff steering wheel? I like that sporty feel. Okay, trust me. Any long distance driving, and I do a lot of long distance driving. If you drive more than 5 or 6 hours, you don't want to be out there tugging on a wheel. Like, you want something that is comfortable. You can just rest your hand on it, and you can provide gentle inputs, and your wrist is not sore, and you're not like having to shake your wrist like, ugh, my hand is so sore from turning this wheel. So I just don't like how stiff the steering wheel is. And so then we'll go to the lights, the headlights here. Really beautiful headlights, and the headlights respond to the steering. So as you turn the wheel, the lights will pivot in the direction that you turn the wheel. So it just enables you to see around corners a little bit better. It's really a pretty mild system, though. It's not like the lights are going to turn 45 degrees or anything like that. They move only very slightly, and you can see that when you're driving, but I honestly don't know that it makes much of a difference at all as far as safety when you're driving. Sometimes I wish I could just turn that off, because I'm like, that's just wearing out the motor mechanisms inside the headlights, and then one day they're going to get stuck in a particular orientation, and then they're no longer working, and who knows how much those lights cost. So I kind of want to be able to disable that. So it just seems like it lacks that, and that just kind of goes into the next complaint. It just seems to lack so many settings you would just think it would have. It just doesn't have that setting. Like, I don't know why. When you look at Sync 4, it just seems like a whole wealth of settings could be in there, and it seems to lack those. Even Sync 3 seems to have a few more settings than that. I'm gonna go back to the digital instrument cluster here. You can see my cat. He's running around trying to have a good time. We call him Rugby because when he was a baby, he was just rough. He played very rough and hard, and he acted like he had no sense of pain. So anyway, you can see when I buy a new vehicle, I oftentimes will sit on a towel just to preserve the new car scent as long as possible. These instrument panels are pretty. Like, it has all these graphics here, and when you power the vehicle on, it's saying press the brake pedal to start. But the instrument panel is great, but it just seems like you should be able to customize this a lot more. You seem like you should be able to change the way these gauges look. Again, I think my video stopped there. Sorry for the interruption. These seem like they should be able to be customized more, and you can turn over here. This knob, this is the four-wheel drive. If you turn that knob, you can change the different modes. Normal mode, which is what we were already in. Slippery mode, and I'm just going to show you how the gauges look when it goes slippery, kind of a blue hue, and then you go over to deep snow and sand. I honestly don't think any of these gauges make a tremendous difference, except sport mode makes a bit of a difference. Mud and ruts, they don't seem to really make much of a difference. It's not like the truck suddenly becomes Superman or anything like that when you turn any of these. It just seems to be not much, but it's pretty to look at. Let's see if I can go back. Normal, and then eco, everything goes green. Eco mode makes no difference at all on the fuel economy. And you can see I'm reading 25.9 miles to the gallon after going 71 miles. And this is just back roads, slow driving. I was barely over 55. So if you drive slow, you can at least get the readout to read a phenomenal fuel amount. I really don't know what my fuel economy actually is, because as you can see, I barely got more than a tank of fuel. One tank of fuel ran through this truck. So when I did the calculation, it was at 21, but that was a lot of fast driving on the interstate, and it kills the fuel economy at that point. But I just feel like these gauges should be able to be customizable a lot more. And same way with Sync 4 over here, just simply not customizable enough at all. I still have this plastic on the display, not customizable enough, not enough settings. Somebody may say, well, that's plenty of settings for me. It just seems like a system this advanced, it seems like they have barely got it working. So that's just something I don't like. Eco mode, again, I mentioned that already. It doesn't make any difference from eco to normal. Just drive it easy. Don't step on the gas real hard, and you're going to get the best fuel economy that you can get. And then I want to talk about this rear view mirror. I don't know what's going on with this rear view mirror, but you can see from a driver's perspective how small that mirror is, how small the view out the back window is. I don't know what's going on. I mean, the mirror looks physically about the same size as anything, but the view through the glass is very tiny. It's just, every time it's kind of like I'm having to squint, and I'm not really able to see cars behind me very well in this truck. I honestly don't know what that is about. It may just be me, but it just seems like I can't see behind me as well as I could in my 2017. So maybe somebody can talk about that or tell me something about that. I'm going to show you one other thing I don't like. This is very, very minor. Nothing to make a big deal out of, but it has like a tape measure here on the tailgate. This tape measure is just kind of, I mean, if you're really working on this truck, I just don't know who takes a $70,000 truck and throwing wood all up in here and cutting it and measuring on your tailgate. It's probably just not a great idea. But it does have a ruler built into it, and I honestly just don't think that's very useful. That's just me. I think this whole applique here is just not much. It has a bottle opener on it. I don't know, man. It just seems like that's not really much of a big deal. I didn't get the bed lantern because that's one of the things that would delay the truck coming in. I'm going to show you a little quick feature. You can take the tailgate and you can just kind of lift it a little bit, and then it'll take over and it will raise automatically by itself. So it's kind of nice to have that, but man, I'm just wondering, how long is that going to last? If somebody tap in the back of you, that's going to break, and then who knows how much that costs. But so that's really my chief complaint with the Powerboost. I would say steering wheel being as stiff as it is probably my greatest complaint. And then the next thing is how Sync 4 just doesn't have as many customization options as I would think it should have. It seems like Sync 3 even had more customizations than Sync 4 does. It's an over-the-air update, so maybe they'll release some updates and add some new features. I really don't know whether it's going to be like a Tesla where they provide new features, or you got to pay a little extra and they reprogram it and add some things. It'd be great if they do that, but as of now, it just seems like they got the skeleton of Sync 4 in there. The basics work, and they work fairly well. Even the wireless Android Auto, I didn't have any problems with that. By the way, let me talk about wireless Android Auto. I'm not a fan of it at all. Here's the reason I'm not. In order for wireless Android Auto to work, you have to have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and it connects through both of those to your vehicle. It drains the battery very heavily, and so you have to put your phone on the wireless charger just to keep some power on your phone. But the wireless charger causes the phone to overheat, and so the phone doesn't properly charge. So you really got to still plug the phone up into the main charger because it's draining the battery very heavily just running Android Auto. So it ain't no need to be wireless if you still got to plug it up. So I'm not a fan of wireless Android Auto. I literally disabled it because it will take over your phone. You can't really use your phone with it running, and it just takes over your phone, and your phone starts getting hot. Your phone starts overheating, and it's really draining the battery on your phone, and you still have to plug your phone in anyway to keep the battery from charging. So I'm like, just disable it altogether. So that's really the problem I have with Android Auto. I'm not a fan. I think it's better to just plug it in. The problem with plugging it in is we have so many problems with the cords. I don't know what this, but sometimes if you just bump the cord on Android Auto, then it'll just disconnect. That's what happens on my Ford Explorer and on my other 2017 Ford. Android Auto just doesn't get a good connection. So you have to make sure you got a really high quality cord. The cord will only last a few months. It'll go bad. It'll start getting a bad connection. It'll start reconnecting and disconnecting from Android Auto. And then you have to buy another cord. So wireless really solves all of that, but then it turns around and drains your battery rapidly. So it's there. To me, there's no real benefit to it. Maybe it doesn't do that with everybody's phone. I don't know, the iPhones are a little better, but I still have a feeling it's going to drain your phone more than if you were not running it at all. And then if the wireless charging is not as effective as plugging it in, then to me it just doesn't seem to be a huge benefit. But again, that's just my take on it. It may not do that with everybody's phone. I have a Samsung S10e, Samsung Galaxy S10e. So again, if you have a different type, let me know how your phone handles wireless Android Auto. Again, this is 2022 Ford EcoBoost 3.5 with the Powerboost Hybrid system. So again, I'm just trying to give you the layout. Somebody may say, well, why didn't you get F x4? I mean, a lot of times I look at that 4x4 and I'm like, such a boring decal. I should have got F x4. But literally the only thing with F x4 on this particular truck is some more skid plates up on the front, and you get another drive mode for rocks, and I think it's for like rock crawler mode. Who's going to crawl rocks in a $71,000 truck? Like, I have no intention of crawling rocks. It does give you additional skid plates on the front transfer case, front differential, but that's it. I have a feeling I can probably buy some aftermarket ones, put them under there for far less than I think it's like an $1,800, $1,500 option. I was just trying to save the money considering how expensive this thing is. So anyway, I guess I'll show you the truck really quick while I'm at it. Baja tan, you can lift this seat up. There's lockable storage. If you pull this up, you can see that comes up. And I'm not going to go through all of that, but it's just like a lockable storage thing there. There's really no changes in the back of this truck from the 2017 that really make a difference, except in the door cup holders, which I think is a great idea. So having them in the door really effectively gives you 4 cup holders back here versus just 2 on the 2017. So I think another thing, I'm going to show you this really quick. So on my other truck, you could open the door by just pressing. This is the fuel door. You could just open it by pressing it or just popping it open. This one, you literally have to walk over here. There's a button. You see that fuel button? You have to press that. And so I'm going to press it, and I'm just going to show you that it pops open here. See, it pops open. Now, it sounds like it electrically pops open. It's not a manual cable. I have an old Toyota Corolla, and it's like a little cable lever right here by the seat. You can pull up on it. And that car has 400,000 miles on it. It's been around for 15 years, and it still all works because it's just a manual cable at the end of the day. But that's electrically powered, and I just worry about that going bad, and then you're not able to get fuel because the door won't pop open for some reason. But the upside is the other one, my 2017, you could just pop it open, and since it was fuel capless, somebody could just put anything in your tank. Whereas this one, no one can put anything in your tank because you can't get to it without getting inside the car. And if you lock the vehicle, then you can't access the fuel. So it's kind of more secure. It's much more secure. But how long is it going to last? That's really my problem. I like this design better because it does give me that peace of mind that no one put sugar in my gas or something like that. But I'm just worried about the longevity of it. Just so many things that can go wrong. It's an extremely complicated truck. I'll run into this. I didn't mean to talk about this, but my other truck right here, it had a little sensor. It had the same sensor that is right there. It had that sensor right here, and it was for the parallel parking. They no longer offer the automatic parallel parking. So again, less features, more money. My other truck had the automatic parallel parking. This one does not. In case you're wondering what this is just some plastic that I haven't removed off the front. Just bought this truck. I don't like these wheels. They're too small. When I say too small, I would say too narrow, and the side wall is too rounded. They look like I got passenger tires on here. They need to be a little bit more square and a little wider. So I think I'm gonna go with the leveling kit. A guy that does customizations on this truck called Wild Willie's in Winder. Give them a big shout out. They did this lift kit on my truck. But they told me the largest size tire I can put on here without it rubbing with the leveling kit is a 295 75 20. So I'm gonna put a 295 75 20 on there, and hopefully it'll look a little bit better. So that's it. That's what's 10 things I dislike. I'm going to make a subsequent video later, and I'm going to talk about 10 things that I do like. So that was 10 things I don't like, and ultimately it's a very comfortable truck. I really like it. The 10 things I mentioned are rather mild, except the steering being too hard. It makes it where you don't really want to drive it on long distance. The Blue Cruise will take over and automatically steer the truck, so that alleviates a lot of the fatigue. But if you don't have Blue Cruise on whatever roads you're on, I think you're gonna find the steering is a bit stiff on this truck. It's pretty stiff. So anyway, leave some comments. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna be doing some more videos later. Thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe. It helps incentivize me to make new content. Thanks. Bye.